Hello. I keep waiting for my dog to stop barking. I think she has now, so we should be okay. So, what a difference a weeks make. Hold on. Screwed up the sound. There we go. Hello everybody. What a difference a week makes. Do I think that the top is in? Is this a bull trap? Do you know? I don't think the top is in. I'm extremely bullish. I think that if we get back above 62,000, we'll go to 100,000. And when I count it, it doesn't, I don't think that we're there yet. No, I do think that this is a wave 4 though. And potentially we've completed it and we're about to start a wave 5 up. But, you know, with these corrections, they sometimes take a bit of time. And one of the things that if I go to a weekly chart, one of the things, and I'm going to go to log scale and auto, one of the things I'm struggling with is whether this is a bigger wave 4 or a minor wave 4. In other words, this is a sub wave 4 of this big wave 3 that we started on the 9th of March 2020. And that's important because if this is actually 5-wave sequence complete, and this interim top is in, then we should have a correction of the scale that we had in June 2019, which lasted, 8-9 months. I don't think it will last 8-9 months, but it could. And so that's always kind of what I am concerned about, that this turns into a bigger, long-lasting sideways correction. When we've done that, that should be then wave 1, 2, 3. We'll have a big wave 4, and then we'll have a big wave 5 after that. So, it's not the top, but it could be the start of some long-term sideways corrections. So whichever way I count this here, though, from this lows, I still feel like this is an interim smaller wave 4 and we're due to go up again. What I really was quite interesting this week for me was the symmetry. If we look at these stock indexes, in pretty much everything, we made the same big ABC correction. So if we look at the S&P here and we tidy this chart up a bit, here we made the same big ABC equal measured move. Whenever you see that, so whenever you see a correction, you have a big rally, and let's start that again. So you have a big rally and 5 waves you can count or more, and then you see a 3-wave correction and the legs are equal. That's always the sign that we've made a correction. The problem is that sometimes this is just the first leg in a bigger corrective wave. So then and how do you know when you're seeing that? Because it'll go ABC up and then turn down again. And then, then this last wave can be 3 waves or 5 waves and hopefully off we go again. But they are very often equal, and it just is the sign that you're in a bigger correction. So the most important thing when in Bitcoin or all of these stock indexes, when you start going up again, is you see how your rally unfolds. If it unfolds as an ABC correction, so if we measure from this low, and so the relationship between the two, the most common relationship is equal, or where this second swing is 61.8 of the first swing. Now I feel like this is a funky wave B in the middle, and that's not actually a very clear cut that this is an ABC correction up here. What makes me a little bit nervous is if this stays as a double top and we come all the way back to the bottom, then I would say, you know what, this does look like an ABC, and this does look like a bigger correction in S&P. So that would be A, B, C. I've also not been impressed by how the NASDAQ has lagged, because the Bitcoin is much more correlated with the NASDAQ than it is with the S&P. And if we take a look at this, the NASDAQ's really got stuck here in the middle. We've got a bearish cross of our daily moving averages. We haven't been able to recover even 50% of this big drop. And this, I was kind of hoping it would turn into a big inverted head and shoulders patterns, but the best inverted head and shoulders patterns have symmetry. And if your right shoulder gets too big, you kind of lose that symmetry. We really should have done this, you know, here for it to be an ideal inverted head and shoulders pattern. So this is another reason why I'm a little bit nervous and think that this may be just A and then a B leg, and we still have another leg lower of correction to come. So when you bear that in mind, then you go look at Bitcoin. Okay, what you're looking for is, so we'll go down and we'll look on our 4-hour at this ABC correction that we just did. So it wasn't perfect, it was a channel, but it was clearly 3 waves, I think, you know, whichever way you look at this, I think this is 3 waves. And this rally, which tells us we were not in an upswing. What's concerning me here is that we haven't made a new high yet, and that I don't want this rally to turn into a corrective wave too. So if we did something like, let me see, I don't want to do that. If we did something like this, so here, and then we had an ABC pullback, and then we did this, that would say that this whole thing is a bigger correction. So what we really need to do is push to new highs. Here's something very interesting about, I think I pointed this out last week, but when Bitcoin pushes to new highs, so for example, when we did this morning here, it's usually a big thrust candle when you get a breakout like this. If you go back here, when we push through these new highs like this, you usually get quite, let me take my magnet off. You usually get quite a lot of momentum with the move. And that's what you want to see. You want to see a move that doesn't come back with a little pullback and let you in. That's a good sign that it's going to keep going, to be honest. Here, when we made a new high, big thrust candle and we push through. What if it's a false breakout, it usually comes back very quickly. We're just looking at 4-hour chart here. So for example, when we made a new high here, it came back really quickly, and you can tell the difference between the two. So when we get back up here and we retest these highs, you're looking for big thrust candles that will keep pushing you going. At the moment, the look of this doesn't say to me that we've made a top here. In fact, I'm quite hopeful. But if I measure it, so when you have corrections, so we have a big, let's say we have a big rally and a pullback, and then we have a second leg. It's very common for this second leg to be 61.8 of the first leg. And so if we were to do that after a drop, that would be one leg, a pullback, and then this second leg would be 61.8, the length of the first leg. That's very common in a correction. If we measure here, because I think we've done a funky ABC. So here's our A leg and then a B leg. I think potentially this 58,000 could be a little bit of an issue for Bitcoin, short term anyway. And I really, really, really wouldn't want to see it reverse here with that ABC pattern. So this is a messy 61.8. I think if we dropped, we would likely come back to the 38.2 and then carry on again. At the moment, there's no sign that we are going to drop. I think we are going to keep going. So the other place that I really, really don't want Bitcoin to stop is 60,000. 60,143 on this index chart, which is a combination of all the prices. So those are the two levels where I think that we're most at risk, that this is not a new upswing, and that this might be a lower high and then another correction before we go again. And in fact, in a wave 4, we could make a triangle here. You know, we could coil up before we go again as well. So that's what I'm watching for in Bitcoin. New highs and above the 60,000. There's no two ways around it, is there? We are in a big uptrend. So I just want to talk about, for people who are interested in Fibonacci, I'm just going to go to the weekly chart, talk about where these levels come from, the red levels that we're looking at. So this is log scale, Bitcoin, all the way from way back when, okay? So 2010, so I've measured wave 1, and I'm doing this because wave 1 and wave 5 very often have a relationship, a Fibonacci relationship. The most common is equal, but that's not going to happen in a parabolic market like Bitcoin. So I've measured all the way from wave 1, and I'm projecting for what I think is the So this was wave 3. I'm projecting what I think was the start of wave 5 and here. And so these are the levels. And what I like about these levels since I've put them on is how they've worked. They've worked really well. So I'm sticking with them. I'm using them for targets and so on. So for me, if we can break back above 62,000, the next upside target in this sequence for me is 98,000. So I think that there'll be some wobble levels in between. 68,000 and 80,000 are the wobble levels for me, but really I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go for that big 100,000 if we keep going. So that's what I'm looking for in Bitcoin. So the other thing that makes me really nervous is Monday morning moves. Monday morning moves are very often the setup moves for the week. And the other thing that we've got thrown into the mix this week is it's month end. And so towards the end of the month, you very often see reversals, especially in FX and stocks. You see, especially a stock or a currency that's performed really, really well all month, you will see it sell off at the end of the month. And it's usually people taking profit. That's all it is. When I worked in a hedge fund, you didn't get paid unless you don't get paid on paper profits, so you have to close your positions. So that's how it worked. So that's where we are with Bitcoin. Potentially a little bit of a pullback here. I think that we're in a nice trendy 5 waves, and so I'd like this as a 1, a little 2 here. I'd like to see this as a little shallow pullback that holds 57,500 or 400 here, and we do one more push higher and get away from this kind of bearish symmetry. That's what I'm looking for next. And then of course we need to get above and hold above that big number 60,000. We've got March out of the way. March is usually seasonally not a very nice month for the markets, and hopefully April normally is a better behaving one. So let's take a look at Ethereum, because I'm a big fan that I think at the moment that Ethereum is about to outperform. And here, what I like about Ethereum here as well is we can talk about the different kinds of corrections that you can see as well. There's a couple of good examples. So here in our uptrend here, what we did here was one of those ones where you make a new high, so they overlap. So instead of your correction looking like this, your correction looks like that, and you carry on. But it's still the same ABC, and you can tell because you measure them. So we did this here. We had one of those irregular corrections here in January in ETH. Here we've done one of these corrections where this swing is exactly 0.618 of this first swing. So that's a really good sign that ETH is done, on its way to new highs, hopefully. Let's just get this right. Not quite 61.8 in this one, but close enough. Close enough, I should say. So I haven't got my thing on, that'll help. There we go. So yeah, now we're on our way up again. I had been waiting, I had an order at this level to buy. It's really annoying that this level got front run. Sometimes that happens when the orders pile up or everything else is moving. So we're on our way higher. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't retest the highs next at 2,000 in ETH. And then that big round number 2,000 is really a big deal. Above 2022 though, I think we're above our big fib levels. And the next upside target for me above 2022 is 3,400. I have pushed half into ETH. I really like it, mainly because I like the bottoming pattern that I've seen. I tweeted this earlier today. This bottoming pattern in ETH Bitcoin. Whenever you get a false breakdown like we had here on the 24th of March, they call it a swing failure pattern as well. So imagine if you're long, right? So you're long ETH against Bitcoin from this double bottom here. We go all the way up and you're like, yeah, now I'm going to ride it because we're going to do another wave. And say this was just an A, you think it is, and you're looking for another one. And then the market comes down and stops you out and then rips your face off going back up again. There's nothing like it to piss people off and inspire FOMO, because then people have lost their position and they're charging to get back in again. And so that's why these false breakdowns are so bullish. So why have I got bearish fail target? Well, if this was our first swing and this is the pullback and this is our second swing, this is where we would be 61.8 of this one. So that's the first place where we could fail, 0.032. So nice risk reward. And that would also probably look like a failure at this 200 moving average as well. Then 0.034 would be where the two swings are equal. So that would also make this a big correction. But if we get our next big swing to at least 1.618 of the first one, that's usually the sign of a wave 3. I would expect a pullback that doesn't come back maybe a third of the rally, and then we carry on higher. So that's what I'm looking for. Really nice breakout today from this slightly sloping inverted head and shoulders pattern. If we apply this as a head and shoulders pattern, if you measure from the head to the neckline and you project it from the breakout point, that gives you usually your target. And that, let's hope that's true, because that would put us beyond our bearish first fail target. So that's what I'm looking for next, probably around 0.032 for Ethereum Bitcoin. And let's see if how we go from there. Got a lot of work to do. So big picture, my bigger targets, I'll take them away, come from measuring from this big low to this high and this pullback. 61.8, equal measured move. 61.8 here. I need to take that off. 61.8 here, equal measured move here, and 1.618 would be all the way up. So, we have some potential. There's a lot of stuff runs on ETH, a lot of stuff runs on ETH. So this is also a very good proxy. ETH Bitcoin, I find a really good proxy for altcoins. When Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, altcoins tend to do really well. So that's what I'm hoping for, and this turns into a big monthly inverted head and shoulders pattern in ETH Bitcoin. Okay, we got a whole load of coins to look through tonight. Let's go. So Litecoin, what I really like in Litecoin used to be like the early warning signal, like a little canary in the coal mine. If I put Litecoin US dollar in, then if we look at this move this morning, Litecoin went first. And whenever you see that, honestly, it's worth keeping a chart up of Litecoin. Whenever you see that, buy some more Bitcoin, because it's usually going to follow. So let's talk about the resistance, because for Litecoin to be going up again, it's really got to get back above this daily 50 moving average, which is very strong support and resistance, and this 236 fib level, which is also support, resistance at 194. So basically, we need to get over 200 and to be going up again. Then we'll retest 247, 250, and so on. So Litecoin US dollar, somebody asked me today, what would be the ideal pullback entry if I wanted to get in on Litecoin? See this daily 20 moving average and 50% back of this big thrust candle. If you look at these big green up candles, when we get them, you never see a close back below 50% if we're going to keep trending. In fact, like in this candle, 50% back is this usually kind of the ideal pullback place to look for a long. And I say 50% of the open close, don't count the tails. So we won't know where that is until we close tonight, but you measure from the open close, and 50% back is usually the best place to look for a pullback long. And sometimes, when you get in between these daily 20 and 50 moving averages, you tend to go back and forth between them. And so that wouldn't be a surprise at all. So I would say back to maybe 190 in Litecoin US dollar, and in Litecoin Euro, I'd be looking for somewhere like, the question was about Litecoin Euro, where this daily is 160. So back to 160 for Litecoin Euro. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is ADA. Okay, let's see how ADA's doing today, because ADA's been a bit, if we look at ADA dollar, ADA's been a bit muted. And I feel like ADA, let's clean up this chart, take everything off. ADA is another one in one of those big sideways ranges. Key question is this just an ABC correction, or are we going to turn into a big triangle? Because it makes me a little bit confused that that this swing doesn't have a relationship to this. So then I say, well, maybe this is a completed correction and this is a new upswing. And then, but yeah, but I can't count 5 waves. Well, you can count 5 waves here. Maybe it is, and we just didn't quite meet it. Or maybe this is one where we've got a funky B. So we go A, funky B, C, and that would make a sense. And then a double bottom, then 5 waves up from a double bottom, and ABC pullback. And so it could be that ADA really is on the way up again. And this is not the sideways range that I think it is, but it needs to get going. So if this was our wave 1, wave 3s are normally really strong. They're the strongest of all of them, and we should see really strong impulsive upside movement if ADA correction is over and we're on our way up again from this next move. So I love how it's bunched up here, sitting on these 4-hour moving averages. I think on the hourly, this is also, you know, nice consolidation. I'd like to see this break higher. And then I think, yeah, ADA could be a buy. Dungalunga. ADA is vaporware. It's much cheaper to send money between exchanges with ADA than it is to do Bitcoin, though, isn't it? So it's not completely useless. I wouldn't call it vaporware. Anyway, whenever you have a big up thrust candle and then you have inside bars that stay in the top half of your candle, they don't close more than 50% down of your big green candle, and we're not closing underneath our daily 20 moving average, I'm going to say I'm staying bullish. I'm waiting for these little inside bars to break higher, and I think that that would be a really nice long entry on a daily for ADA. Tether. Next one is XTZ. I have not looked at XTZ for a while. Where is? 1 second. I've lost my list. That's not good. Anyway, at least we're better than last week. Last week we were at the lows, wondering in Bitcoin whether we were ever going to go up again. So this is not bad at all. Now, I like Tezos. This is clearly, to me, a big ABC. There was no 5th wave. We're riding above all of our daily moving averages. And I'm not sure that this channel is quite... I'm going to take this off because I don't want it to, cloud my thinking. Because potentially this is a big 1 and then 2 with this big ABC and 3. It's all very choppy and overlapping, to be quite honest. I'm not going to call this a big uptrend, but sometimes, you know, they just move in big ABCs rather than in 5 waves. That's just how it is. So the key question here is this drop ABC the correction over, and are we gonna on our way to new highs in XTZ, or is this a big A and then a B and we've got another leg lower back to the bottom of the channel? Because you can see how that would also fit, wouldn't it, if this was a channel and back here again. So how are we gonna know? Well, do the fibs help us? I'm gonna say here we are in that 61.8, 38.2 golden ratio zone. Between those two fib retracement levels, you can go back and forward. I think that if we break out from this range, so if we break above 4.59, then we have to get past the 786 fib, because that's a bearish Gartley pattern if we reverse there. So 5.05. So if we break higher, by all means buy it, but make sure we push through and close above 5.05 and don't reverse there. And if we break down, I think that, yeah, the probability is that this is a new leg lower, so a bigger ABC. And so then we would have two downside targets. At the moment, we're pushing the highs, aren't we? The weird thing is that everything in crypto seems to be the same, like it's riding the same wave. Some people are just going a little bit further higher on the upswings, and some of them are just going a bit lower, but they all seem to be, doing the same thing. So if we head lower from here, 2.9 and then 1.86, I would be very worried about a reversal at 5.05. That would be kind of my bull bear line. I'd like to see it above that. Okay, so that's XTZ potentially setting up a new upswing. Really needs to get beyond 5.059. Okay, and VTHO, this is people just write the tickers and not the questions, so I end up doing like probably, here we go, VTHO. I'm going to go to log scale here because I just want to do a little wave counting. Because I feel like we're at risk here that this was a big 1, 2, and then in our big wave 3 we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in this last one we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. So I think that we are a little bit at risk in VTHO of a bigger correction, and so we had these size, didn't we, for small corrections, and then this one here, this was a little bit longer. So on a scale of this, so we're at a potential of a correction that could last us till mid-April. So that's not that far away, is it? Another 2 weeks. Clearly we're in a sideways range. Clearly we're not giving anything back. Look at this big green thrust candle. We're staying in the top half, just as we did here, and here we did for quite a long while as well. So just a correction. I just would be patient in this one. We're a very long way from all of these moving averages. The market's very stretched, and it needs time to consolidate before we do that big final wave 5 up in this one. So I'm not a bear, but this is in a correction. The most common, let's put this on. The most common, we're in log scale, so it looks funny. The most common retrace for a wave 3 is 38.2. That's a little bit lower than where we are at 0.015325. If we go beyond that, I wouldn't be surprised if we went to the 50% or 61.8 sometimes. And so this previous wave 4, to be honest, if it all gets a bit ugly, it could be where we come back to. I think it would be a gift at 0.0097, but more likely 0.015 or 0.0125. ZRX. So we looked at ZRX in my group this morning. Let's see where we are. Can't find it. Okay, let's accidentally closed page. Sorry about that. I always feel like when I'm talking, I need to keep going back and seeing what Bitcoin's doing, making sure nothing's just gone, ballistic. Sometimes I've been talking and I've seen out the corner of my eye, you know, like a sea of red, the market's just collapsing. That's not funny either. Okay, I'm going to start with the daily chart of ZRX. So I had initially thought that this was a declining wedge, and so instead of just being ABC, which this was, which a perfect ABC, I was looking for. Therefore, I connected the highs and the lows, and I was looking for a breakout here. It's all got a bit messy though, hasn't it? Big fight over it. Third touches of trend lines very often are overshoots or messy, but not like this. So I'm wondering what the heck's going on here. And here's the problem. If this is just the first leg in a bigger correction, this second swing will look like an ABC and say that we're not ready for a new upswing yet. And that's exactly what we got here. This leg and this leg are equal. And so now we still need a C leg to finish. I'm not sure that this was enough, but it would have a relationship to this first one. Probably. And it's not. So I'm, neutral ZRX. If it did something, it has to do something now sort of really spectacular to make me believe it's going up again, because now I'm just a little bit wary of it. I don't think it's done enough of a correction and it needs one more dip. And there's quite a few altcoins in this position as well. Yeah, I'm going to go with one more dip before we can buy this one again. Unless it makes new highs, you know, unless it takes this high out and then a nice pullback and says buy me, I might think about it. But at the moment, no, I'm not for ZRX yet. And it's a shame because I really do like this coin as a project. Yeah, let's say above 1.6 then I would maybe revise my idea and buy pullbacks, and we'll see where we go with it. LRC. I've got BNB up because I feel like it's almost time for BNB to go again. But it moved. BNB was one of those ones that moved so much in one day that you then have to spend like 2 months consolidating while everything catches up. And I feel like that BNB just got ahead of itself. So let's... Okay. So I thought this was a wave. I thought that this was the start of a new wave 5. And so I've measured from this wave 1 and projected it from here. We've now double bottomed and made a new low. So I'm going to move this over a bit and say, you know, this is what I'm looking for. But really this swing failure pattern, double bottom on its own, is enough to say, you know what, we could see a really nice reversal here in LRC. And so we've got this sideways range, we've got this double bottom here, and we've got the top of our range, and a breakout of that should see a really good strong uptrend that takes us to new highs. So flat moving averages mean no trend. That's what we've got in the middle here. Is there any harm in buying it here? No, but your target first off is the top of this sideways box. Okay, that's your target, 0.65. And only if we get above that are we kind of looking good. I like this because look, it had a really nice look, didn't it? Another one of those sloping inverted head and shoulders patterns. The hourly 200 moving average, if you like this too and you're looking for a pullback, these highs and this 200 moving average maybe at 0.51 would be a good look. I can count 5 waves up in this one, so make sure that you can see 3 waves back before you buy it if you're looking at the hourly like that, okay? 5 waves up, 3 wave correction. Might not look nice and regular like that, it might look like that, but that's what you want to see if you're looking low time frame. DOT, so let me see, look at what the question was with DOT, so I don't just endlessly talk boringly about I can't find it. I think it's is this the top in DOT? Let's see. This is a good, okay, this is always a warning to me. When you test a high and you can't make a new high, or when you make a margin on a new high but you can't close at a new high. So we had a big fib level here in harmony. This is 1, okay. 0.211 was the level that we needed to close above. So this now is one of those funky swing failure double tops. Your first target has got to be back to the bottom of the range, okay, and see if we make one of those A, B, C corrections. But those kind of double tops and double bottoms, they say that we've stopped going up. So you've got, if you've got a pile of 1 or harmony, this would be a good place to take some profit. And if I'm wrong, what will happen? Well, it'll pop back above this level and hold above it, buy it back again. But at least you've kind of de-risked a bit when you see this pattern. Okay, we were looking at DOT, which I haven't found because I got distracted. Sorry, let's not do that. Where are we going here? Okay. We're going to look at them in a minute. Here's DOT. So DOT is one of those ones in a hopefully bullish pennant. So there's bullish pennants and bullish flags. Okay, bullish flags are usually when you have a big rally and then you make an ABC correction and you can draw it in a channel like that. That's the bullish flag. And a pennant is just a triangle pattern. So that's the one where the second swing is 61.8 of the first swing. So you go up, have a dip, have a smaller one, and off you go. So it makes a triangle. That's your bullish pennant. So hopefully we're looking at a bullish pennant here for DOT tether and another leg higher. I feel like this is 1, 2, 3, and we've done our big wave 4, and so hopefully a big strong wave 5. We've pulled back to the 38.2 on the lows here. That's, as you know, the ideal or the most common pullback for a big wave 3. So there's loads to like about this, and here we are trying to get back above our daily moving averages in DOT. So yeah, looking really good for the top of the wedge. Now, because this is a wave 4 position, sometimes you get those 5 wave corrections or you get those triangles, so that if we don't break out or if we get one of those false breakouts, you're going to see a pattern like this and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th wave before we go again. So make sure that it really does break out. Does that mean you can't buy it until then? No, you can buy it here, but just be on alert when we get to that trend line in DOT tether. Okay, this is looking like 5 waves up, so I'm feeling quite confident. Here we are in the middle though, in one of those levels where we might have a little bit of a pullback. And you know, especially after your first wave, you can have really deep pullbacks. Look here, like this one where we came all the way back before we got going again. So, you know, we're not on our way until this pullback. So I would wait for that and then hopefully not too far, next leg up, and we're on our way. The most common retrace is 50%, but that would be this double bottom low here at 31. But sometimes, you know, you see more. So let's see where we're going. That's DOT tether. Okay, I have lost my I'll look at AAVE. Hello, Fekra. When the norm is closer to rug pulls and memes. You know, this is Okay, look, this is a very, very volatile market. But when you look at the returns that you can make in this market, especially in the altcoins, you know, literally 1,000%, you have to be prepared to take some risks if you want that kind of a return. And, you know, yeah, there's no free money. You have to take a risk. So you just try to minimize it, recognize what the market's doing. Okay, lecture over. Let's take a look at MATIC. So there's a key theme, right, tonight. The key theme in all of these charts that we've looked at, every single one is, are we going to make a new high and is the correction over? And the answer is it's not quite clear yet. I'd really like it to be, but it's not quite clear. And Monday morning moves can sometimes be the fake out move, okay? So we should all, instead of getting crazy bullish, which would make me even more nervous, everybody should be a little bit careful and wary here this week, okay? Until things get going or we get through month end and so on. Okay. Looking for MATIC. I can't find it. Okay. I'm going to look at this on a monthly chart. Like, I think the question in MATIC, has it got further to go or has it topped yet? And I spent quite a lot of time on MATIC with my group. When I look at this on the monthly here, I feel like, just make it really simple. Okay, this is our big wave 3, right? This is 1, 2, 3. And so potentially we're at one of those levels. But I'm going to make them line up and look for. So we had been waiting. When you go up through see each one of these red lines, see how they've now become resistance, then support. And when you get above them, they're support. Get to the next one, it's resistance. Next one is resistance. So that's what we're doing. Have we made a lovely ABC pullback and we're on our way up again? Yeah, we are. But the risk is, as you know, that we make a double top here or a higher low, and that would say, yeah, bigger correction under the way. So although it looks really bullish, impulsive, strong impulsive moves up, choppy overlapping correction, we really do need to get over the line here. Now, when I counted this in the group, I'm not going to go through it again. I believe that this correction that we've just done is a wave 4, and we've got another wave higher. And I'm just going to take that away. And if I do this, and I make this a different color, okay. Do you know, I think MATIC has the potential. I'm looking for where confluence and everything lines up. 1.22 and maybe even 2, which is wild when we're at 0.39, isn't it? So yeah, I don't think MATIC is done. For some reason, I think it's wildly popular. And I think it'd be great if you got low time pullbacks to buy this, but it's got to make a new high. If it doesn't, that tells you that it's a bigger correction before we go up again. So, and that's at 0.5, 0.51, okay? Because otherwise it'll just be like all of the others where we've had one leg of correction, we're doing a B, and we'll do another one before we get going again. Okay, yeah, MATIC's been trending. It's a good scalp, I think. I know, yeah, it has been a good scalp. Let's look at how these were working. You know, it's like a ladder. It's going to keep going up until it tells you it's done enough or makes a topping pattern. Be careful here. Okay, so high to low, we stopped at this 50%, right? When you stop at 50%, If you break the 38.2, because remember, this is like a staircase, you will come back 50%, because mean reverting markets tend to keep mean reverting. So important that we don't continue below 0.39 here, or short term, you're going to come back 50% before you go up again, which would be back down to around 0.36. Okay. Seb says, what's my opinion on IQ BUSD? To be honest, all of them, you could say that about all of them. They all got really overbought and they keep going. And this market really is, they're all doing the same thing, these coins. If Bitcoin continues to new highs, these altcoins all will as well. They're all kind of doing the same pattern. So, you know, we could look at chart after chart, but it really feels like all one market at the moment. You know, apart from, you know, one will be a bit faster than the other. Like, I really do feel like ETH is about to outperform Bitcoin again. But if everything goes up, when everything is going up, altcoins usually do better than Bitcoin. And when everything is going down, usually Bitcoin doesn't fall as hard as alts. So, you know, it's not over till it's over with any of them. Okay, let's take a look at a few more, but pretty much every chart we've seen has been the same pattern tonight. So we'll take a look at some wing. Some of them are a little bit ahead too. So here's one that's different. This is great. Look at this lovely breakout move in wing. Normally, I would put a fib retrace on from these highs, but this has got one of those really stupid spikes. Like, so I just don't feel it's relevant, so I'm not going to put it on at the moment. And the tether charts don't tend to have such good history. I would say that this is a really bullish day. Yesterday, this is a daily chart. The most common candle after a massive up day like this is an inside bar. And then maybe another inside bar, maybe another one after that. And then we should keep going. And next upside target is 68.60. Might only be one or two, but we should see 5 waves up before we get to our resistance next. So that's what I'm looking for there. 68.60. And if we push through 68.60, which is possible, the next upside target is 106. Hooray. But in this swing, look, I feel like, yeah, we need one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So see if we can push above it. So stay, it might go, yeah, it should continue higher from here. This one is on a different path, not in quite the same corrective patterns that some of the others are. 68 then, and then 106. I'm just going to put one level in the middle. It's kind of an interim. That 314, 80.87 might be an interim level. Next one is wing. So buy pullbacks in wing. If we were to look at the hourly, you know, nice little hourly buy, one more dip down, turn up again. That would be a very good look. XVG we looked at this morning, and there was a couple of these that were looking really exciting, and XVG was the most exciting one. Had broken out of a lovely correction above the 38.2 and on its way higher. So I'm going to zoom all the way out. This is XVG. I have not gone from the spike high, but I've gone from an interim high here, which was the first bounce after the nasty drop in XVG. And when I put it on, I always look for the fib levels to work by mainly the 236. I want to see a reaction here, and then if the other fibs work. And in this case, so far, I think it is. And that means that potentially we've got a 50% level coming up. I say potentially because there's no guarantee that I have got these fibs correctly. So that's at 0.0424. If I haven't, and we should zoom it out all the way. See, this is what I mean. Look at this stupid spike. If we use that, did we really trade up there at that price? Let's put it on log. You know, we're miles from the 236 fib, and that's a log scale. If we take it out of log scale, you know, it's not really relevant. So that's why I use that first bounce level for my fib to go from, and that's why I'm going to rely on that. So that's the first thing to say. Second is, if this was a wave 1, 2, 3, I think that potentially we've done 5 here in this wave 3. 1. I'm going to look at this on the daily. So this is the only one that makes me nervous. Oh no, it did go beyond. Okay. I think that we are approaching the end of this wave 3, like we're in the final parts of it. So yeah, let's watch out and see. I kind of need to get back to first bounce level. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it now. So let's measure, because we're also, if this is our A or 1, 2, this is 4.236 of wave 1. So it is kind of one of those levels where, yeah, here or in this zone. So I would like to see us really push above that. And if we do, then 0.0609 would be my next upside level. Sometimes with these fib levels, you blast through them like they're not there, and then they become support. Sometimes they're resistance first, but this is definitely working this way. So yeah, watch out that we don't see a reversal here above 0.406. Yeah, we should continue higher. Have a go on the XVG US dollar tether chart, more history. Okay. Yeah, there's more history. Well done. Thank you. That's for that tip. Normally the tether charts are worse. So if we take all of this history, I'm going to say, you know what, we probably got it further to go. Because we said 0.06 next, didn't we? That would be the big 236 fib. If we count all of the spikes, that would be the big 236. Let's make sure I've got it on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, 0.0587. I wouldn't give up on this one until we get there then. It's looking pretty good. Oh, you mean calculated by trading view? Yeah, they're always the best history. Calculated by trading view. I agree. As you can see, I've got a marked chart here. If we calculate it US dollar fiat, it's 0.075. Okay, I listen. Verge is going to go higher. Let's move on from. I'm just going to stop the dogs barking. Okay. So if we go from that high, we've got further to go. If we take just this most recent 5-wave swing lower, and we look at how we reacted at this 236 fib here in Verge, we should expect a reaction at this 38.2 then, shouldn't we? And if we do that, 0.0455 would be the target. Okay? I'm going to stick with that one, I think, because of this reaction here, I feel like we can lean on it. So 0.0455 would be the next. J Nemesis, we are going in order at the list underneath the screen because they were all requested in advance, but I will see if I get time for flow at the end. But if we end up looking at 5 charts for each coin, that's not going to happen tonight at all. Sorry. Okay. WTC. It should be here. Walton. So Walton was a really nice breakout today. It's not in that position, I don't think, in terms of are we in a correction or are we back trending again. We made new highs today. I've got my Heikin-Ashi candles on. I'm just gonna switch these off. And although we haven't closed at these highs, I want to see if this fib support, this big 50% level of this swing holds as support. Because if it does, I think that there's a good chance that we could continue higher. So I'm looking on this pullback for us to not go back below 1.71 WTC US dollar. This is calculated by TradingView. It should be similar against Tether, but you never know with these. Yeah, if we look at these previous highs, that means that we've got room here, haven't we, to come a little bit lower. Yeah, 1.71, I would say, like this. Wait and see how we close. So it might look like a swing failure at the moment, but I do think, you know, less we close below 1.71, I'm looking for Walton to continue higher. So let's go back to no. Let's go back to our breakout. Here we go. And so remember, this is just the most recent swing. When I put my fibs on, it's because I've got reactions at other levels. Usually though, once we go beyond the 50%, I tend to zoom out and say, big picture, you know, we might get to that 236 fib. In the case of Walton, we've fallen so far, that would be mad really, because 11.13, gosh, it's a long way, isn't it? I think we'll do it, but not all of these altcoins are going to be here forever. We have to accept that and try and pick the Google of crypto. So we're just going to use this most recent swing in Walton dollar. We were above the 50%, the next is 61.8, then 78.6, and so on. So we hit the 61.8, as long as we don't fall back below this 50%, we're still going up. And we'll do the same again. As soon as we close above this 61.8, that will become support. We don't want to close underneath it, and we'll look for this 786 and so on until we make a new high. If we make a new high on the weekly here, we've reversed the weekly trend. That's a really big deal. So looking good, climbing the stair higher in Walton. No reason to think that this is a top yet, but double top or a close back underneath 171 would make me think a bigger correction's underway. So hang on to your profits. 1 inch. So this is one. This correction has been really nasty. Let's It's taken a long time. I know I'm scribbling over everything. Here we go. All right. So we talked about that thing, you know, when you did a 50% retrace going one way and you tend to do 50% the other and coil up. That's what we're seeing here in 1 inch. So from this low to the high, we pull back halfway. See this halfway? How many times we found support here at 3.54? And when we flip this and every time we rally and we get 50% back, we get stuck with this 61.8. So we're stuck in a really horrible sideways range that seems to be going on forever in 1 inch. Each time you buy it at the lows, your target is the highs. So we're looking for 5 basically, 4.999. And if we can close above 5, we would have a new high close. What was the close here? That would be a good bullish trigger, I think. 5.025. If we can close above that, that should be us on our way. But, you know, this is so choppy and overlapping, it makes me very nervous that, in fact, all we're doing here is a big, you know, first swing of correction, rally, another one, you know. So I would really like to see 1 inch above this level, finding support and so on. Could you buy it here? It's in an upswing. Yes, you could. Make sure it breaks out, though, and doesn't reverse. Otherwise, sell it there. So not for me yet, I'm afraid, in 1 inch. Not saying it won't work, but I just would like a little bit more certainty. I'm quite risk adverse. So here's BAL. Let's see the daily, the month, daily. Okay. Here's another one where you're a little bit at risk here because potentially this is 5 waves up, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's measure the relationship between wave 1 here and wave 5. And that looks, you know, yeah, this is making me a little bit nervous, I have to say. Now, it may be that we get another swing higher. I've miscounted, and that's just a subwave of, and so we haven't finished wave 3. If I measure from here, is that likely? Let's see where we are. Yeah, it could be, because we haven't really no, I'm a little bit nervous here. I'm a little bit nervous here in BAL that we need a new correction, a bigger correction before we resume the uptrend. So let's see what we should look for if that's going to be the case. These don't seem to be working, so that's okay. So it's still going up. Now, here we are clearly going up again above this level as well, which for me is really cool, 52.72. We should keep going here from here to 78. And if that's the case, then this is maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this would be, I have miscounted, this would be our 5th wave. So that'd be very cool. Yeah, that'd be very cool. So, hopefully, next leg up here in BAL Tether. I am a little bit concerned, like I am everything, that this was just A and B and C before we go up again. One of the reasons is that this doesn't look like a clear 3-wave correction to me. And that's what I would want it to be, you know, if we're going up. It may be that this was a funky ABC. I don't think it is, but that's just what if we don't make a new high, look for a second swing and then the uptrend to resume. That's all. I don't use the pi cycle total, though I know a lot of people that do, and they are really fans of it. So it might be. What would it mean if the pi cycle was crossing now? Would it mean a major top, or we're going up again, or... Okay, let's look at ocean. So ocean is the same. Look, everyone, apart from the ones that have just moved to new highs, most altcoins look like this. Sideways correction. Here we had a double top in ocean, but it wasn't a double top because we didn't make the double top target. I feel like this is a nice ABC and hopefully on our way up again. And one of the reasons I think that is these corrections are very similar in scale, aren't they? So, yeah, this is resistance then at 1.55. If we close above 1.55, I'm going to look for 1.77 next. And if we can't close above it, obviously we're not. So 1.77 and then the 6.854, 2.7. So important we close above 1.55. Let's see how we're doing there today. Couple of little 4-hour dojis so far. Yeah, so haven't managed to get above our resistance. So 1.55 and then 1.77 and then 2.7. Oh, theory is pi cycle is a topping indicator. I'm going to do, yeah, I'll research that a bit more. I think that has worked before, hasn't it? The crossing signaled the last 3 major tops. Yeah. Remember, this isn't going to be the all-time high. It's just are we lining up a bigger correction, you know? And is this going to be a much, you know, if we look at other halvings and how much we've rallied in the year following the halving, if we were to make a high here, it would be quite a bit less than we've performed in other years. But, you know, institutional money, when it comes in, tends to do that a little bit. So, okay. So ocean, we really do need to get above this 1.55 level, and then we should see new highs. In comp, which is another nice chart here. This was a nice one today. Now, I'm going to go all the way out to the daily. Clearly, this one has the look of an ABC. I was looking for this to hold here, but it's fallen a little bit further. I think if we break out of this channel, or if we can get above the daily 20 moving average, remember when we got underneath it here and tried to rally, it was resistance. If we can get back above it again, we're likely on our way higher. It was a really good signal. And probably that would mean correction over for comp, tether. So looking quite good, and that would then be a bullish pennant, wouldn't it? So this swing is at least 61.8 of this one, so that'll be all right. Yeah, I do really like this. So when I want to confirm something, like my fib kind of confirmation of a reversal, if I put my fibs on from this high to low, as soon as you get over the 236 fib, for me that's, in Fibonacci terms, a new upswing. So above 378 here says we're going up, probably at least to 50%, to this daily 50, and then to the upper trend line, I think. So comp, love it. Actually, it's, you know, the first one that I've looked at tonight. Now, the first time you come back to a 20 moving average, which we've done here, you usually get knocked back. So do not, as soon as I say that, click buy, okay? It will likely have a bit of a pullback before it's a good buy. I would like to see some red candles, and ideally I would like to see it north of this 20 moving average as well. After a big day like today, wait and see where we close. Look for 50% of this big green candle. That would be a really good place to look for a pullback long in comp, US dollar, tether. Mana, CRV. Do you know today was the first day that the kind of lockdown got loosened up in the UK? And I didn't go out because I'm not going anywhere till the hairdresser's open. Now this is another one where I'm really... Are we in a new uptrend? I have to say that I think we could be in mana. I feel like in scale, they say that corrections are usually equal in either price or time. And so clearly this is prices, but time, if we measure how many days this correction took, I feel like this correction is very similar here to look to this low. And so potentially, yes, we are breaking out. One of the things that also gives me confidence is we closed at a new high, a higher close, and that usually is a signal that we're going to keep going. It doesn't mean that we're completely out of trouble though until we make a new high. So there we go. Oh, David's not... Okay, so at the moment we've got ABC down. Now we've got ABC up, and we've stopped here. Okay, this isn't very clever. We don't want to drop back below 0.9946 or or a daily close below 0.99. That would mean that this is that bigger correction thing. So if you bought the breakout from this channel, we might come back here and test your entry, something like this. But yeah, below 0.99. Bearish reversal, not new upswing in mana. So far it looks all right, doesn't it? And short term, this little correction looks all right and very sideways and corrective. So happy days. Let's see. We should be on our way to rally shortly in mana. Okay, let's... Then we get our fifth wave. I'm just going to go to log scale so we can look at this. I'm going to say 17.94. Looks good. Next. 17.94. Sorry, no. 1.54. And then 2.45. As long as we can hold above 1 point. So we've got 0.99, haven't we? Daily close. I really want to see it hold above 104 if we're going to keep going up. So yeah, this is setting up a nice long. 1.54 is the target. And then 2.45 maybe for a second target in mana. So no, don't give up on mana yet. I think that was the question. Is mana done? No, not yet. CRV. Don't know what that one is. That's okay. So in terms of this daily chart, I feel like this is a wave 4. This is our wave 2. And the question is, are we going to make a new high and on our way up again? And I have to say, when I look at this, I feel like no. This was quite nice correction, but this rally, the most important thing is how you rally. You want to see really strong impulsive moves like this. And what we've got here is choppy overlapping, and that says correction. So I feel like no, this is not a new upswing for CRV. This is going to do this before we go again. Now, I could be wrong. If you were long, what would you do? I'd put my fibs on from a slow to high like this. And I would just keep using it like a seriously, just use it like a staircase. So this is a 4-hour. I've left the 61.8 off because it was here. Let's put it in. So here we are, we're rallying. We bought it off the 200 moving average here, up we go. So the 50%, pull back to the 38, carry on higher. 50% pulls back, doesn't break the 38.2, carries on higher. Here we got to, I got to put them on the right so you can see them. 886, as long as we hold above the 786, 3.22, which we are, we're going higher. And so we'll just keep going up the stairs like this. And as soon as we drop back below the previous one or drop back below the previous swing low, then we're in line for a bigger correction. So hold on for the ride. That's a 4-hour chart we're looking at doing this. And hold on for the ride, see if we can make new highs. And then if we can make new highs, yeah, probably we want to see it now start to not be overlapping and quite nice impulsive price action. And then we can look for next leg up, and we'll say we'll go like that. It could go to the mean at the moment in a wave 5, so we'll but I would probably be looking for look at that. Yeah, 3.26, 4.27. See how highs, now support. So 4.27. Okay, next swing up for CRV US dollar. This should turn into a nice buy. Remember though, corrections are 3 waves. Look, 1, 2, 3. You know, and so it may be that we don't make a new high straight away. Don't dump it. It might do that. Okay. AAVE lend. It's that always that chop. People are so quick to buy levels and don't wait for the 3-wave correction, and that's how they get chopped up. Think it's not working, dump it, and then only to see it go without them. Okay, so we're not looking at Sonum. We're going to look at lend. Is lend ready to go up again? Do you know, I was really looking for us to go to this 61.8 level here, but it may be in lend that this was A, funky B, C, and we are on our way up again after the steep retrace. That would be very cool if that's the case. Let's measure. Our first resistance comes in at 403. So a close above the 20 moving average, I would probably buy this. We should go to 403, 403.98, so that's basically 404, and then 470, second target. Even if this is a correction, this is really nice risk reward, I think. What we need to see though in lend is that close above that daily 20 and close at a new high then. And at the moment, it's not looking decisive, is it? Not yet. So if we can hold above this level, 4.04 next for lend, and maybe not, the correction is over. So many charts look the same, don't they? STORJ. Okay, what's I'm going to be honest, I've got half an hour. I'm going to do as many as I can, and let's just have a quick drink and I'll keep going. Okay, we'll find STORJ. It hasn't all been these choppy ones. Had quite a nice winners this week in Phil, haven't we? Look at this one. You know, this is not, yeah, this is a beast. I'm not giving up on that one yet. Okay. Here is STORJ. So some markets like to do double tops and double bottoms. Bitcoin used to do them all the time as well. And this one is one of those markets. High, double top, high, double top here. And quite often. So when we get up here, we can see, you know, we really did retest this high, but here's a double bottom. And when we got above this, we made our double bottom target, and beyond, up here, we've got messy double top. And so now we need to see, are we going to hold these lows and this lovely trend support? So there's loads to like about this level. For me, it's just a question is, are we going to hold it on a retest? Because if I was looking at this 5-wave sequence, the bottom of this wave 4 would be where the first place I would be looking to buy it back. So we need a double bottom. If not, I'm afraid the path of least resistance in this one is lower, and we'll likely see new lows. So let's have a look. We're just going to do this last 5-wave swing. So that's here to here. This is our 50% level. If we lose that, we're going to come down to the 61.8 at 2.26 and potentially to 1.83. I would be quite bearish if this chart, if this chart lost the high here, or we traded underneath, closed underneath this high at 2.01. So if this level doesn't hold, 2.26 in these highs, and yeah, this bearish cross of the moving average concerns me. The good news is that the moving averages are flat going sideways, and so when you've got that, you haven't got a trend. All you've really got just is a sideways range, and that's what we've got here. But if you break it out, you know, it should be with the yeah, it'll tell you which way next anyway. So looking for 2.56 to hold as support. Otherwise, we're going to head lower to 2.26. But this does really like to double bottom, double top. I would not be surprised to see this at all. Okay, so wouldn't completely give up on STORJ yet. QNT. This is, we've just been talking about sideways ranges. QNT Bitcoin, big sideways range. The good news about that is that, you know, Bitcoin's been in a parabolic rally. So QNT has been in a parabolic rally too. Let's take a look at, I don't know, can you trade QNT Tether? Yes. Or are we looking at Wrapped? Let me see who asked for it and what the question was. Nobody ever says what the question is, but Joe, QNT US dollar, okay. Let's take a look. So here's our daily chart. Side again, so against Bitcoin, against the dollar, we've got this really funky sideways range. I've been kind of trying to measure it, and I will say one thing: when new coins start, very often, while they're finding a base or finding a following or building a following, you know, they do tend to go in a sideways range, and 50% very often, I've noticed, is the level. And in this case, our range is from a 50% and $50 is really our resistance that we need to get above. And we're just bouncing around in the bottom half of this range, aren't we? Nothing, yeah. Nothing to say all systems go yet, is there? So I do like how in this instance, though, this is 50% back. If we did it this way, you can see that we haven't, from this high, closed underneath this. This is quite positive. This is, you know, our closing levels here. This says to me that we might be about to launch an attack and have another go. So if we do that, remember, mean reverting markets keep mean reverting. So over the hump of the 50% in the middle would be what we'd want to see. So we want to see a close, a daily close above 42.89. If we do, we should see more upside and back to the top of the range and the bigger 50% level at 50. So let's look at it low time frame. We had a peak above it today, didn't we? So what is it you always don't want to see? You don't want to see an equal measured move. So let's measure this, because then we can make some rules. Okay, I'm going to measure from here because I think this is A, B, C. I don't think we're there, but okay, and if we went from here, okay, so no, it's not an obvious ABC, and so we'd be looking for a fifth wave. This is 1, 2, 3. Let's see. It may even be that this was 1. So yeah, I'm not too bearish yet. I would say by pullbacks, the moving averages look all right. We really do need a daily close above 42.89, and then we should see those highs. So yeah, it's not the most compelling chart, is it, when you're going sideways, unfortunately. But when you build a base like that, that's what you go to the moon from. So the key is to keep checking on these charts and see when they are starting to move, and then maybe buying a little for the ride, buying a little ticket, if you like, in QNT US dollar. Next one is Ripple. Okay, there's no settlement, you know. There's no settlement in the case with the SEC, and until there is, you know, this chart really could go either way. And so I feel like you're buying a lottery ticket. You're buying a lottery ticket betting that they're going to get a settlement. Now, sometimes we can see their footprints on the chart. Maybe we'll see some so if we had a day of huge volume buying, but we didn't know why, that's usually a sign of insider trading, and somebody knows what the result is, or that there's a deal been done. That would make me excited to buy. At the moment, though, no, these are flat moving averages, and we're stuck in a sideways range. I know we're pushing towards the high of that range, but it's not compelling. It really could fail. I think buying that closed us above 0.587 should see a rally to 0.846. But yeah, until we get that, and if we look, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 haven't been able to close above that level. So a close above 0.5877. Otherwise, Ripple, hang on to your lottery ticket and don't lose it. SLK, LINA. Okay, who asked for SLK? Did I write it down wrong? Jeff, I don't know, I can't find SLK. Send me a message with where the chart is. Okay, next one after SLK, sorry about that, is LINA. Okay, you read the other day that the holders wanted to cash out. You believe it was in general. Okay. Of Ripple. It's quite interesting, you know, that Visa, is it Visa that have just launched their own stable coin? So they're not going to lose Ripple, and they're like probably one of the biggest in the world, aren't they? So, okay. Now, should we go from this high? Is it stupid? It's a bit stupid, isn't it? Bloody stupid. Okay. That's, so it's quite a new coin. So we can look on the hourly to see here where the bounce went to. And that's where I'm going to do my fibs from. Okay, and we're going to say the 236 fib, which is here, we really have to hold above that if we've made a bottom. And we kind of haven't. So this hourly chart says to me, LINA, when you very often see that, your first leg to the 236, you'll either do shallow consolidation underneath it, which would be quite bullish, and then I would be looking for a break above that. But if we didn't, if what instead we saw was more than 236 back, watch out for it. We don't do a big, double bottom or something like that. That's what I'd be looking for. Okay, so yeah, bullish consolidation at the moment. Wouldn't want to see it back underneath 0.1354. This is in log scale, so we can have a look at it. So 0.1354, that would be an ideal correction to have another go for LINA. Any more than that, I would give up. And if we put it back in 0.134, it's not, where are we now? 0.14. If you're already down here, you might as well wait and ride that out, right? So, yeah, LINA has really good support, 0.1354 in a correction. OMG. What a lovely breakout. Now, if we look at this, right, you're going to say, oh God, I missed it. It's gone without me. You probably have, but, no, you probably haven't, but let's say, I'm just making sure, I can't quite see that I want to see that the fibs worked. So this is a lovely 61.8, 236 on this pullback. Perfect. So our danger level, so I would say normally watch for 50% of this to come back. So this 61.8, that's where you would be looking to buy right here on a pullback and 50% back. And 7.07, that's our tricky danger level. So between 7.07 and 7.45, because that's the level where we are a bearish Gartley pattern. That's where, if this is our first swing and this is our pullback, this is where our second swing is 61.8. And so potentially, this is where our first target really should be. 7.5, I would say. And that's also should be if we measure an ABC. So if we measure from this low to high, yeah, that's where our ABC is. So in that zone, let's bring it down a bit. That's our potential bearish Gartley reversal zone. So that's where I would be looking for. So buy pullbacks against, I can't read it. Let's see. Buy pullbacks against 6.37, and watch out for trouble around 7.5 or just ahead of there. If we can't get above it, we will see another bigger swing lower. Okay, next one. Nice breakout today, 50% back. When it closes, should be a really good one. Comp we have already done, so I'm not going to do it again. QTUM we will take a look at. Because QTUM, I think we'll go to a monthly. QTUM's got further to go. I like this, is trending quite nicely, isn't it? 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 10.29. When you look at these highs, it's easy to say, gosh, we haven't made quite a new high yet. That's true. When I look at these closing prices, though, that is what I would be looking at for support. So, yeah, I'm still looking for another push high in QTUM tether to 10.29, but I'm going to double check a couple of things. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so we're in our wave 5. These wave 5s can extend quite a long way. So if we got to 10.29 and we blasted through it, happy days. We're going to go to 13.25 after that. And I really like the support and resistance around there if I look to the left. And so I would say actually 50% back is probably a better one. And so these wave 5s can extend a long way. And let's measure wave 1 like this. And that would be equal. Gosh, we could go all the way to 16. That would be great, wouldn't it? So yeah, looking really good. If we look at it on a weekly, I think it's even clearer that this is not, your usual swing failure double top, right? Okay, so still bullish QTUM. Good luck. Phil went flipping crazy, and now we're having a bit of a rest while the moving averages catch up. So if we make I know this is very arbitrary because, potentially we can count 5 waves up, can't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that does put us at risk of a bigger 3-wave correction when we can see that. The problem is sometimes we count it wrong. So this would be 1, 2, and this is 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, and so we're just doing a minor wave 4, not a bigger one, and then we carry on. So the key is to watch how this correction unfolds. If it unfolds over, 6 days or so, and then we turn up higher again, that's what it was. It was a sub-wave 4, and we're on our way up again. If, however, we end up doing, a much bigger correction that takes, here we took from, 12 days, then double what this one was, then we know that this was a way, and that's where we're at with it. So, and why does that matter? Because, well, normally it depends how far you pull back. Okay, because if we're doing a little correction like this, we probably won't come back that far. I'd be shocked if we came back below 110 and under this halfway of this daily thrust candle. Whereas if this is a bigger, wave 3, then we could easily, come back 38% onto the bottom of these lows at 75. Okay, so expecting at least a 6-day correction here, but it might end up being a 12-day correction for Phil. Look how far away this 20 moving average is. It's got to catch up before we can really go up again. That's its best friend's support. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is OGN. Hold on. I'll find it here. Okay, I'm going to look at OGN calculated by TradingView because I want to have the best history. And I'm not sure how long this coin has been. There we go. Okay. So clearly, here we are at new highs. And here's another one where you can actually count 5 waves up. And so you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe we're due a big 3-wave correction here. And 1/3 of the rally. Let's see. I love how all these fibs worked all the way up. That's really good news. But we don't need them now. Okay. So 1.99 is 2.5. So 2 basically, or 2.5, if we can hold above 1.589. And let's do this. Where are we? If we keep going from here without that bigger three-wave correction, 1.94, 1.99, that's where we're going to go. So that's, I don't think, let's make sure I've lined it up properly. No. There we go. So as long as we hold above 1.49, I think we're going to go to 1.96 next. So let's see how we're doing. So here's our support. Let's not go below that. Here, 1.49, and we're looking for 2, basically 1.99. So buy pullbacks. I think Origin Protocol keeps going. Now, at some point when we get here, maybe, if we don't do it here, we are due that bigger correction, and it will be 3 waves. But until we make a top and it's over, then up we go. You thought, yeah, there's quite a few, you know, that haven't put. I've got a FET on my list, Sharon. So I'll it's the one after the next one. So SRN and ROOK and then FET. Okay, so I don't know. I guess I need to talk quicker or I don't know. Maybe. SRN. Sirin taken. Let's look at it on BitTrax. And we'll start with the weekly chart, because we're making some pretty nice progress. Now, we've got a really huge 5 waves down. If we put our fibs on from those highs, our first target would be so far away it'd be almost unachievable. So we're going to take the last 5 wave swing that we can see, which I think is this one. And we're going to start off using these retrace fibs and see what they tell us about where we're at. I was taught when I was originally mentored, I was told, you know, if you put on your projections and you put on your fib extensions and you put on your fib retrace and they don't line up, which one would you go with? And I was always taught the bigger one is the bigger fib retrace. And in this one, so we're doing that golden ratios thing. We've reversed at the 61.8. The support here is the 236 fib. Somewhere in the middle will be a pivot level, probably around 0.87 or each one of these fib levels. So we've done a big 5 waves up, big golden ratio pullback, and should be ready to go again. We will be if this, so this would A, B, I'm hoping. Otherwise, we're just in a B leg of our correction. And so another coin, similar thing. So big drop, choppy overlapping rally. Need to see one more drop before we are ready to go again in Sirin. So big picture, I'm bullish. I am. But I feel like we're going to do another trip within the zone here before we're ready to go again. Yeah, sorry about that. Now, if you're long and you were bouncing off this level, I am often wrong, okay? And the market is often there to trick you, make it look like it's something it is. So if you've got long and you've got your stop under this low, follow it up, because I could be wrong and we could just keep going to new highs and keep going. If we make a new high above 0.124, I really do think we test these previous highs at 0.199, which is basically 0.2, and then I would move my fibs up to the whole big thing and start looking for that 236 fib level. Okay, SRN then might need another leg of correction. Be careful. If you're in it, stay in it. It means if you're in it, stay in it. But if you're looking for something to buy, probably wait for a bit more information in SRN. Next one we're looking at is ROOK, then FET, then Chillers. So ROOK. I'm pretty sure I don't have ROOK, so we'll save this and ROOK. So this is another false breakdown. You imagine the psychology of this, right? You've held ROOK and you held Rook and it came all the way back to test the lows. Look, it was holding above and you think, oh, everything's okay. And then we have this really shit day where it closes underneath it and it's resistance, and you go, oh, that beast, I'm dumping it, and you sell it, and as soon as you sell it, boom, off it goes. These false breakdowns, this is why they're so powerful, because that's why people chase them and to get back in again. So this lovely false breakdown has produced a really nice rally. Let's see where we are now. Fib retraces we're going to use from here to here. And look how they're working. So this 236 came back, we tested it. I think we should see 6.275 next on the upside, and even better would be 7.26. And I would say as long as we don't close back under 5.28, looking all good for another leg higher in wrapped ether. Rook. Fet. So another leg up. Gosh, that means Rook is going down, doesn't it? Because isn't this wrapped ether first, Rook second? That's not good. Let's look at FET. Sorry about if that's the case. So maybe they've just labelled that wrong. I hope so. Okay, we are looking at FET US dollar, and then chillers, and then I'll try and do a couple, but I was hoping to be done by 10. Let's see. Let's go to the weekly. I just think after 2 hours, people are not going to be interested in hearing me talk anymore. I'm going to put regular candles on, because these are my kind of fib levels. This was actually a 1.618, where we reversed here, not there, and so a bit underneath it. I'm not convinced. There, that's better. Don't like that. History, not enough history at Bitfinex. So we're going to do this. And we're going to make sure we got this right. Because this 1.618 is liable to be a little bit of trouble. It's at 0.878. It looks like one of those levels that have been front run as well. If we can break above it, happy days, because then we go to the 2.618. But it's just one of those levels that very often causes a problem. So above 0.878, we can look for 1.416. But let's see. It's not a reversal yet, but that's what we've got to get above. We're going to have it looks like we're going to have another go, doesn't it? A double top here, a hit this level, marginal new high, and a reversal. That would mean a bigger correction. So that would mean that we have really got 5 waves up in this sequence, which I can't quite see, but main thing is here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. So let's just oh look, it's so stretched it doesn't even do it. Okay, yeah, I would be just a little bit careful here, because I think that we may start a wave 4. So let me go back to the weekly. That would mean we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do a wave 4 before we go up again. And if I put it on normally, the normal correction for a wave 4 from here to here would be, well, if we break the 236, that's where the really big support is. Then the 38.2 is where we normally come back to. So really good support here at 0.674. Otherwise we come back to retest these highs at 0.53 or 0.55. So important support for the trend. We're staying an uptrend above 0.67, but a bigger correction. At the moment we haven't reversed. There's nothing to panic about. I'm just saying we're almost at one of those levels where we could see a little bit of trouble, and I would really like to see us push through and have 1.41 as our next upside target. Okay, next one is Chile's. Okay, I'm glad somebody raised this one in my group, because this has got a really nice, we looked at this earlier, this has got a really nice bottoming pattern, inverted head and shoulders pattern, maybe, hopefully, something like that. Clearly, we're making a nice space. We've got a low and then a false breakdown low, and so I'm waiting for this to break up higher again. Above this high would be a bullish trigger for me, 0.561. Today, though, gosh, we've just done nothing, gone sideways. So yeah, I'm waiting for Chile's above 0.558. Then let's zoom out again. Above there, I would look for a retest of 0.75, and then above 0.75, target is 1.21, and uptrend has resumed. I've got a really big messy chart here, so I think I could probably do some cleanup. Let's do some cleanup. So from here, I think this is 1, 2, and then we've gone 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and we're in 3 of 3, and this is just a little subwave 4, and it should just be on the sides of this one, and then we turn up again, and even then we're only going to just be in a wave 4, a bigger wave 4, and then so Chile's, you know, for me, although it looks really, really stretched, has a lot more upside to come. So I'm quite excited. This is quite, I really do like, it's very bullish the way this CCI has reset as well. Okay. All right then. Can I check out, okay. Brandon says dollar index seems really bullish, and you counted that we're in a 5 on the day. Yeah, we are. And isn't that weird, Brandon? Because so this is one of the other things that makes me think to myself, maybe this was just the Monday fake out move in Bitcoin, and maybe we're going to go lower again into month end. I have to say I'm really nervous about it. And yeah, I agree with dollar index. Look at this dollar index here. Zoom out. Let's look at where we are on the daily, above this 236 fib, above the daily 200 moving average. That points to moves more upside, and this 38.2 and these highs and lows here, which would be at 94. So yeah, I do think this is what makes me think that we could see some pain. And today was a really strong day. So, you know, when you break above a level, which this 236 fib was, rather, what you want to see is it come back and be support. And so if you look at this, you can see that on the daily, but if you look at it, say, on a 4-hour chart, that's your pullback. And look at what a lovely A, B, C down and up we go. So this is textbook bullish. I agree with you, textbook bullish for the dollar index. It's not, I keep thinking, so in currencies particularly, and I used to work at a currency hedge fund, you would close your positions at the end of the month very often and then put them on again. And so that means that currencies that had really strong moves that people would take profits in. So if they've been all one direction all month, you are going to see, you know, the next couple of days, some trend reversals, some counter trend moves. So if we think we're in a really big, you know, bullish move in the dollar, we could see a bigger correction from here. And I have to say that if we close the month back underneath this 236 fib level, and that's obviously Wednesday night, I might not be so bullish. Let's see. Fundamentals, Brandon. Yeah, let's see. You know, I know they're printing a lot of dollars. They are printing stupid, but that's inflationary. So, you know, all of these things that you think should make the dollar weaker, I don't know. I think America's about to on fire. You know, I think economies are going to bounce back stronger than people are expecting from COVID. I think one of the troubles is that, you know, especially with stock valuations, is there really aren't enough assets. There's not enough places for people to hide their money. When we have inflation, you need your money in stocks or you need your money in property, because they're going to go out ridiculously against. If you were sitting in fiat, you're an idiot, you know. And the problem with, you know, you can't just see, you know, one day Bitcoin might become a stable coin rather than a store of value, rather than as volatile as it is. So I think there's a shortage of assets for people to invest in. And so this is why we're seeing stuff like GameStop and you know, really huge short squeezes. And I think also why we are seeing those, you know, non-fungible tokens. People are creating them. It reminds me of 2007, 2008, when there weren't enough mortgages for funds to invest in, so they had to, you know, rehypothecate them and make fake mortgages and bonds and CRVs, you know, on them. And it reminds me of that kind of mania, you know, of 2007, or the ICO in 2017, when we had, you know, people just buy any kind of shit white paper ICO, and then that bubble burst. Well, I kind of feel that way at the moment, like with the non-fungible tokens. I'm pretty clear on the chart that we've got more upside to come if we can make new highs in Bitcoin, but there's a lot of things out there making me think it's not going to last forever. So I'm just being a little bit careful. All right, so let's I can't remember, somebody asked for LINA. I'm going to finish on LINA. LINA went a long way very, very fast. And I feel like LINA is one of those ones that needs more time to correct before, for sure. Let's look at LINA calculated by TradingView. We'll make sure we got the best history. So I'm going to get rid of the volume, hide. Okay. So the key question is, like everything else, is LINA ready to go up again, or is this the first part of a bigger correction? I think any way you look at this, this correction is bigger than these small ones. So this little sequence here is likely over, and we are likely to need a three-wave correction. That's just without even measuring where we are. So this is one of those charts where when I look at this, and I look at this drop where we had it was all in one straight line. Basically, we retested the lows, and now this choppy overlapping. Yeah, I think that we are at risk in LINA of a bigger correction and another swing lower. And I would, if you've still got some profits, I would be protecting them. So the first place on this, I'm expecting it to drop. The first place I'm expecting it to retest is 15.36 in these previous lows, and potentially we come back to 12.76. So further to fall. Now, if we, that's still just a wave 4. If we look at this swing here, it's going to be 38.2, you know, or 50% back of this rally. It's not a big drama. It's just we're in that bigger correction phase. The last correction here, and the last correction of this scale took how many days? Let's see. You know, we've got a few more days to go. 9th of April. So that's okay. There we go. So we expect it to make a low around the 9th of April. 9th, 10th. All right, I am going to go. Well, if I change my mind about anything, I will post it on Twitter. I am feeling bullish. But I'm just really, really aware of how many times I have been fooled by Monday moves that have not followed through. So I prefer ETH to Bitcoin right now. I'm still really bullish. I would like to see this lovely rally follow through and continue higher. Okay? And if it doesn't, yeah, I'm going to be really upset. And I'll see you on Twitter. Bye.